Welcome to Strawberry Inc. Today, we're revisiting a tragic event that shook Northwest Miami-Dade County, the Mula Banquet Hall shooting, which occurred on May 30th, 2021, during a Memorial Day weekend album release party for rapper ABMG Spitta. What should have been a night of celebration turned into a nightmare. Gunmen emerged from a white SUV with rifles, opening fire on the crowd, leaving 3 people dead and 20 injured. The victims, Desmond Owens, 26, and Clayton Dillard III, also 26. Both of them were pronounced dead at the scene. Their bodies were identified through their IDs at the Miami-Dade medical examiner's office. It was determined that they died instantly after the bullet hit them. Shaniqua Peterson, 32 years old, was critically injured and died later at the Jackson Memorial Hospital. 2 others were rushed to trauma centers, the Aventura Hospital and Memorial Regional in Hollywood, Florida. All were released within 4 weeks. The rest suffered injuries but less severe. The hospitals used for them were Jackson Memorial, Aventura, and Memorial Regional. This shooting prompted an immediate response from the ATF, FBI, and Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office. The SUV was found at a nearby pond hours after the shooting. Less than 48 hours, investigators linked 6 individuals to the case. Miami-Dade State Attorney Catherine Fernandez Rondo, leading the investigation, vowed to bring these suspects to justice someday, as the 6 were tied to a criminal probe within the state of Florida. A Miami-Dade Circuit Court grand jury reviewed evidence, indicting the suspects, Davonte Burns, on 3 counts of second-degree murder and 20 counts of attempted second-degree murder. On the rest, 3 counts of first-degree murder and 20 counts of attempted first-degree murder, conspiracy, evidence tampering, and a firearms offense. The indictment was unsealed by that state attorney, and the urgent capture for all 6 suspects was ordered. On September 24, 2021, Davonte Burns was arrested in a residential raid in Opa-locka. At the sheriff's headquarters, he confessed to being involved with the shooting. Then, the following month, October 6, another suspect, Warnerick Buckner, was arrested in Miami Gardens. He requested a lawyer, but detectives continued questioning at the sheriff's headquarters. He had been captured as part of another raid, and basically, his Fifth Amendment rights had been violated. Willie Hill was already incarcerated at the Coleman Medium Federal Prison for an unrelated offense. Detectives tied him easily to the shooting. Then in June 2024, SWAT raids in Opa-locka captured the rest. Alan Chambers Jr., Eugene Holmes, and Jakari Green. They were all transported to the sheriff's headquarters. All defendants were represented by public defenders. Davonte Burns appeared before Marisa Mendez, who denied him bond and ordered that he remain at the Miami-Dade County Jail awaiting trial. The same decision was made for the rest. For Buckner by Judge Mindy Glazer, for Chambers Jr., Holmes, and Green, Judge Marcia Caballero, all except for the one in federal prison, were lodged into the Miami-Dade jail. The case was assigned to Judge Marisa Mendez, who would find sufficient evidence to move forward with the case against 5 of the defendants only. Warnerick Buckner, due to his Fifth Amendment rights being violated, had his charges dropped and was released from the jail. Willie Hill continues awaiting trial, and in May 2025, he was moved from the federal prison to the Miami-Dade jail. 3 others, Chambers, Holmes, and Green, also continue to await trial in that facility. The only one who has been to trial is Devontae Burns. This was in September 2023 as he, just like his co-defendants, maintained not guilty pleas to the charges. The jury in this trial consisted of 12 members and 2 alternates. Devontae was ultimately found guilty on all charges. Judge Mendez refused to acquit him, emphasizing his responsibility as the lookout. Then 2 months later, on November 3rd, Judge Mendez sentenced him to life in prison without parole for all charges merged into the murder counts. Devontae, as Judge Mendez has as well refused to redo the trial, has appealed to the higher courts. Most matters are pending except the Florida Appeals Court in Miami affirmed his convictions and life sentence, denying a new trial. However, there are several outlets still available. Devontae Barnes remains at the Miami-Dade jail as he awaits a decision on his appeals. Maybe if he cooperates with investigators, he may reach a post-plea and get a reduced sentence. The Mula Banquet Hall shooting remains a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of gun violence. While justice has been served for Devontae Burns, the other defendants are still in the judicial process. Our thoughts remain with the families of the victims and all those affected by that tragic night. Thank you for joining me in the story of Strawberry Ink. Stay safe, stay informed, and remember, the stories behind the headlines are critically important. Have a good rest of your day.